Yosemite Samtastic, back with more Guild Wars 2. Hey. So, here we are with Battle Tabby. This is the actual, this is the true creation here. I went with the orange tabby look, and because I'm a Battle Tabby, I got the little mohawk going on. I'm a Guardian, because I already made a Warrior, and Battle Tabby's definitely got to have heavy armor. Blood Legion! For the Blood Legion! So, the, today's video is going to be about the options. So we've got a noob's guide to Guild Wars 2 options. And we're going to be looking at a few of these that I guess they'd be good for Guild Wars 1 players as well as people that are new to Guild Wars 2 that might want a couple of choices. So in the background here, if you're wondering, that is the ruins of Nolanai Academy. You may have been there to watch its downfall in Guild Wars 1. If so, then let's go ahead and take a look at the control options, because there are a couple of these that I changed from the default, or rather, I added unmapped commands. About face is something that was in Guild Wars 1. You press X and it turns you around, and it actually creates all kinds of fun things, like if you're asleep, then you can use that to spin around. Oh, God. Oh, I'm allergic to cats, I guess. Okay, so anyway, since they took away sleep jumping, you can do that. It's good stuff. And I also set swim down for when you're doing underwater combat. I just set that to shift so that you can use your left shift just like you're using space. All your fingers are over WSAD. It's easy enough. Don't forget that that auto run is still R. That's a very helpful one. I went ahead and set walk to apostrophes so that I can walk if I want to, but that's nowhere near where my other commands and keys are. I also, take note, a lot of people don't know that V is dodge. That's just an important thing to remember, and we'll be getting to that in a moment. You can configure a lot of stuff here. On targeting, I just set C to target the nearest enemy. If you call a target, if you've got something selected and you do Control T, it'll call the target, or if you control and click on it, it'll also call it. It just doesn't do it in the town. But you've got options to do nearest ally, next ally, previous ally, and lock auto target. I haven't really messed around with those, but I do like having C as being able to choose your closest target, just because it makes life easier. When you could say, hey, that thing's really close to me, and that's the one that I want to fight because I'm a melee fighter. Now, what's the next thing? Oh yeah, here's one a lot of people should know if they're familiar with my videos at all. Control-Shift-H would hide the UI in Guild Wars 1, and Guild Wars 2 they actually tell you that. So there you go. That's that keyed in right there. F11 is how you can get this menu and then mess up all of your progress while talking about it. And you can also set up a key for mail if you want to be able to access that easily. I always want to use M to get to mail, except that's your map. Now, for free camera, I don't use the free camera because it's basically like the mouse 1, always, where you can use the camera independent of your character's movement, and then mouse 2 is that. It's basically the same as WoW, if you played WoW. So I just don't mess with the free camera, but that's what that's related to. The stereoscopic, I don't know if everyone would get that option, or you have to have a graphics card that supports stereoscopic rendering, but that's the 3D image, and you need to have a program to view it correctly. But I did find out, I didn't know what that was, and I set mine to stereoscopic, not thinking about it, and I actually had to go through and split my images into 2 images. There's a program that I found for splitting stereoscopic images into like 2 JPEGs, but to like not have that happen, to not have to worry about it, just don't map a key to that, because unless you have 3D glasses, which I happen not to, then it's gonna be sort of dumb. Dumb. So that's, I feel like there's something specific that I'm forgetting here. Oh yes, Z. Right there, look behind is another one straight out of Guild Wars that I like to have, so that when running from enemies, you say, "Oh God, is he still chasing me?" And instead of having to like turn the camera all the way around, you just hit Z, and you can see if they're following you. So that was the other one. Those are basically the ones straight out of Guild Wars. There was somebody that wrote a blog article about mapping keys where they use different stuff for those, like you they had their weapon removing and putting away thing. That I set that one to U. It's on here somewhere. And I think that's all of the special key mappings that I did. But yeah, straight out of Guild Wars, X turns you around and Z looks behind you. I kept those in there. But the shift to swim down is a really important, helpful one, I think. So now, and okay, graphics options. We'll just kind of glance at this. This is where you go if you're having problems with your frame rate, which you probably are unless you've got a really good computer. And so you get to toy around with these if you want. So there's your best performance, and then you can configure individual ones of these to see if it damages your frame rate. It'll actually show you your FPS right here, and mine's terrible because I'm screwing around with a bunch of settings on top of me also recording. That's an audio glitch. There we are. 6, 8, 7, not very high FPS right now. But I've noticed that my FPS tends to be a lot lower in towns in any case, and since I'm in Black Citadel, technically. Yes. High-res character textures, that's another option. If you wonder what vertical sync is, a lot of people seem to be confused about this. They're like, hey, I turn off vertical sync and my frames jump way over 60. It locks it at 60 if I use vertical sync. That's because probably your monitor is restricted to displaying 60 frames per second. Vertical sync just means that it won't go beyond what your monitor is capable of when producing frames. And it's actually a good idea to turn on vertical sync unless for some weird reason it does adversely affect your performance. But 24 frames per second is full motion video. That's what they use for videos on YouTube. So if that looks full motion to you, it's because it is. That's just, it can look smoother and happier after that. Blu-ray videos are 60 frames per second. But like my monitor only does 60 FPS. So where you look at it like 60 hertz, 120 hertz, that's your frames per second. And so you can actually get artifacting where you'll have weird frames cut out and stuff if you don't turn on vertical sync. It can just, it's good. A lot of people talk trash about it. Vertical sync is not bad. Okay, under general options, there are a bunch of checkboxes here. Some of mine may be different from yours as which ones are checked. We've got auto loot is definitely one that I recommend turning on very quickly, because when you go up and you hit F to loot something, you'll see a little pop-up thing here where you have to like click on the items that you want from that. If you have auto loot, it just shows you what was there and it throws it right in your inventory. The only problem with auto loot is you have to be sort of more on top of depositing all collectibles. It's important, and dropping by merchants a little bit more frequently, at least until you get more than a couple bags. So there's my miniature orange tabby cat right there, which somebody gave me an invisible bag when I made this character so that I can, I'm Battle Tabby with my orange tabby, because I am in, anyway, you get it. Alright. And then I also turn on show all enemy names, because I like to be able to see where all the enemies are, but if you turn on all NPC names, then things just get crazy, because they're everywhere. They're everywhere! So I usually leave that one off, and you can just hold down Alt to see NPC names, and you can also hold down Control to see monster names. So that's that. Show all player names. I have that turned on just because it's sometimes helpful to know the difference between players and NPCs, so that you know who you're trying to help, who to run with, that sort of thing. So turned off NPCs, have enemy and player names up. I may change those around in the future for the sake of immersion. And did you hear my cat? Meow. It's so cute. And I don't know. Yeah, closing window with escape. That'll also get you to that menu. That's not flawless. It's a little bit on the buggy side. I've had some issues with it where I try to close a window with escape and it doesn't work, even though yeah. So Simple party UI, I'm not sure what that is, but I don't think that the party UI is very intrusive. It just has a little icon and some info about them if you like mouse over them. I can't imagine what a simple party UI would look like. Maybe it would just have their name and not a picture. I don't know. I actually haven't screwed with that one, but show skill recharge is a big one that a lot of people, I actually got a comment about that asking how I did this, but you see that the time that's on there, if you turn off show skill recharge, it just has the little thing going around. So you click show skill recharge and you get a timer. It's kind of really helpful. And when it gets down to less than 5 seconds, it does like seconds, point seconds. So yeah, good stuff. Enable camera shake. Oh, I don't know. These are some things that you can mess around with if you felt like it. Rotation speed affects how quickly moving the mouse around will rotate your screen. I have mine almost all the way to the left just because I've been really comfortable with that. I haven't felt the need to speed it up. Some people might drink way too much coffee and need that to be higher. I don't know, maybe they don't drink enough coffee and their hand moves too slow. But I tend to have my mouse all over the place anyway because I use it to click on my higher utility skills and stuff. And the position, this is a fun one. You see how it's moving the camera a little bit? If you're zoomed in real close, then it moves it a lot. Wow! And if you're zoomed all the way out, it won't affect it at all. So that just determines, as you zoom in, which side of your character the camera tends to move to. And that's kind of nice so that when you're running around, you'll be able to, like, if you move it all the way to one side, you'll be able to actually see past your character a little bit better when looking at what's directly in front of them. It's, you know, with the char, it doesn't seem to matter at all because they're freaking huge and they're always in the way. That's right, Battle Tabby, I'm talking about you. So, there have also been some reports where this used to be like a smooth slider, but I think they changed it because more people wanted it to be directly in the center. There were some complaints about some issues with the camera where a lot of people were having problems with the camera glitching out, which was attributed to having the slider changed, or at least how badly it would happen. I don't know if it's related at all, but just something to keep in mind. If you move that around and notice that your camera starts spazzing out more, consider setting it back to the middle. Alright, I think we talked about the free camera. That was, you can just turn that option on, and then when you're using your right click. What? Okay, holding down both mouse buttons just makes you run apparently. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the free camera thing is about because it doesn't. I'm trying to use the free camera. No difference. Nothing changes. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Double tap to evade by default is turned on. When you start doing a few jumping puzzles, you may see why I turned that one off. That's where knowing that V is evade is an important one. Also, if you don't know, pressing V and space being jump, your evade and jump keys at the same time, you actually do a jump flip. And the significance of that is that you can show off to people because, say, there's like, hey, that wall up here, so you come across something that you're trying to walk past and you can't walk past it, and so you're going to have to jump over it. But only sissies just do a normal jump. You can do a jump flip. Oh yeah, look awesome, right? Like a boss. That's right. So that's just a fun one to learn. You get good at it, and you can always look amazing all the time. You can disable area of effect rings. The way that works is that when you use a ground targeted effect, no, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Disable area of effect rings means those red rings that appear on the ground, or I guess the white rings that appear on the ground, they just aren't there. You have to really pay attention to what AoE is popping around. So I don't know why anybody would use that unless they're just totally masochistic. The double click to attack interact is the default. That's so that you click on things and that works. The stop auto targeting on target change I actually use sometimes because you've got your option to control right click on your attack skill to disable auto attack, but sometimes it's easier to just turn the camera away and hit C and it'll break the target on your enemy and you'll stop attacking it. Especially if you get that thing where they like decide that they're not within range to attack you and they go invulnerable and start running away or something, and you're like, just stop attacking them. So yeah, That's how I do it, is since I've got C set to closest target, I just rotate my camera so that they're off frame and press C, and it'll break targeting. So that's something that I keep on, the stop auto targeting on target change. And auto targeting, that's the one where when you just start attacking, it'll pick the target. It'll actually put them up there and it'll show their life bar. And there are a couple of glitches with the way that it works, but for the most part, I think that it's pretty good. You sort of get used to how the auto targeting functions after a time, and it makes it easy enough. Promote skill target will automatically lock to targets when you hit them. I guess I don't know if that puts the targeting on them, but I just don't use that. I think what that'll do is it'll actually set a target when you attack something so that other people know to attack the same enemy. I'm not sure though. Now, fast cast ground targeting is an interesting one. When you have a ground targeted skill, this is where I was getting ahead of myself before. When you have a ground targeted skill like a mark on the necromancer, or if you set up ground targeting wells, I've done a lot of necro, can you tell? Then instead of having it when you use the skill, it shows the ring, and instead of having you point where you want to put it and use your skill button or click, it just will immediately cast. Once you hit the button for it, it'll immediately cast wherever your cursor is. I don't like that. I don't use that. It might be faster for some people. I think it would cause a lot of issues for me because I've gotten pretty quick with the ground targeting, and I like to be able to see where I'm about to drop something because you can hit multiple enemies. In some cases, I like to optimize the number of enemies that I'm going to hit with my ground targeting instead of just trying to target directly on one enemy. Melee attack assist, I don't know. Don't ask me about it. Oh, wait. No, it says right there. Prevents you from running through your target so that you stay in melee attack range. And that basically means that when you're targeting something, you can't walk through it, which doesn't work with NPCs. But if I were fighting enemies, then that would matter. Anyway, one of the reasons I'm not fighting enemies, you may notice that I'm level 8 on this character, but I don't have any of these skills unlocked. I actually, as a little added bonus here, I don't have any skills unlocked. You see, I don't even have any of them like a third of the way unlocked. Nothing. None of them. Nada. Zilch. And I intentionally avoided buying any of my utility skills so that you wouldn't say, well, you must have attacked it with your utility skills and not your weapons to gain experience. No. No, I did not. I am level 8 point... What is it? 8.355. I think I did the calculation on it. There's a little bit more crap after that, but nobody cares that much. So I hit level 8 and then got another 1,466 experience. And how did I do that? I did that by exploring all of the Black Citadel, then proceeding on and exploring all of Lion's Arch, and then systematically going through and hitting Holbrack, and then the Grove, and then Ratasum, and then also Divinity's Reach. I did feel, I'll have to say, I felt a little awkward as a char wandering around Divinity's Reach. And then also when they did the maintenance last night, I got bumped off of that. So anyway, that's it. That's all I did. I have not killed a single enemy. Basically, if you're a Norn, you have to get 3 experience finishing off whatever that thing is that gives you the trophy. But if you're a char, you do not have to engage in combat with a single enemy in order to complete your starter scenario. It bumps you directly. It gives you exactly, I think it's 2,000 experience that it takes to get from level 1 to level 2. And so it gives you exactly what you need to go straight to level 2. And then from there, you just explore all of the points of interest and vistas and waypoints in all of your towns. And there you go. Level 8.355. And so for anyone that's like, oh, you know, I've been trying to do the starter area stuff, but I'm not high enough level. It's like you gotta grind. No, you can go explore. You can go explore and you can gain yourself over 8 levels just by exploring before you kill a single enemy. Though, keep in mind, I have died 4 times. It's not completely safe to... There are a couple spots I fell off of. I was like, oh yeah, I can make that, and I fell and I died. The first death, you know, I was trying to be really careful. In the first death, there was like the giant bear ice sculpture thing, and I slipped off of that and died. That was sad times. I was like, well, there's my first death, and I haven't even attacked anything yet. And if you're wondering about that shield, it is an awesome shield. That's the Diamond Aegis, straight out of the Hall of Monuments. Oh yeah, and I'm wearing the Heritage heavy armor as well. So anyway, I just wanted to sort of go on and talk about all of the different options and things. We didn't even really look at the sound options, but I mean those are pretty straightforward. You may wonder about VoIP ducking actually. That's if you're using a program like TeamSpeak or Mumble. You can change the VoIP ducking to adjust the in-game volume based upon whether or not you've got your program running. I think with some of them it'll actually work so that when other people are talking it'll lower the game volume, because I've heard that in another video. I think with Mumble it just drops the volume of the game when Mumble's open, but that's it. If you're wondering what a buffer size is, that's how much it pre-queues audio, so that, I mean, it's within milliseconds, but the most stable means it doesn't have as long of a queue, and the lowest latency means that it has, I'm sorry, yes, okay, the lowest latency would be that you have a nice beefy queue, so that if you have a little bit more intense processing, it'll still be able to provide uninterrupted sound. Only screw that if you have, I mean, you could set it to most stable, and then only screw with that, like bump the slider over if you actually have problems with the audio, which I might actually do, because it's easier to not burn up my processor as fast. It's an intense game. Anyway, on that note, you should go click like, because this is some really helpful stuff that I just told you. It's true. It's true. All helpful. And then subscribe, because I'm going to have more videos. And Battle Tabby. Which one's the Battle Tab? That's my little Battle Tabby. Battle Tabby Jr. We're gonna go kill some stuff later. Battle Tabby! Anyway, click like, subscribe, tell your friends about me, and you will see me later.